gonna catch these nuts. What's happening, y'all? I'm Mark Melvin, and this is Mark Melvin Talks. So I wanted to talk to y'all today about the coronavirus. Now, we got to ask ourselves, what do you know? And the bottom line is, unless you're a scientist, you only know what they're telling you. Now, many of us may have like family members that we know that doctors have told us have contracted this virus, this terrible virus. But again, what do you know? You're told you're sick, you got something, and it's that. Is it really that? Unless you have a microscope, unless you have a PhD, unless you're a research genetic biologist, some type of fancy word scientist stuff that I don't even know means in lay terms, you really don't know. Does the coronavirus really exist? But here's what I heard the president saying. I heard the president saying that they're coming together with this antidote. I'm gonna call it an antidote because that's my language. And they're moving the military. Now, as soon as he said military, I was like, okay, this is some real shit. Shit just got real. Why is the military being enacted on this? Well, and a couple of days went by and he was like, well, if you don't, I didn't hear the president say this, but I heard this on TMZ. Charles and Harvey was interviewing a man, I guess a legal analyst, saying that, hey, if you don't take the virus, if you don't take the antidote, can you go to work? Can you go out? Can you go here? Can you go there? And you have to ask yourself, now you may not be a genetic scientist. You may not be a biologist. You may not even know how to think scientifically, objectively, by the method, but you can look at what's happening and look at the facts. The facts are, A, you don't know if coronavirus even exists. You know that something has killed people, but you don't know what that is. B, you do know the president said for a fact the military is going to be involved in the movement of this said antidote. And 3, I'm already hearing, if you ain't got the card that says you've been treated with this vaccine / antidote, okay, that's where we're at. Now, this is all based off of something that we can't prove. Let me tell you what you don't know. What you don't know, let me ask you, whoever's listening to this, do you know who your parents are? And if I ask you that question, everyone will say, yeah. Mostly people that grew up with both of their parents will say, I know who my parents are. I look just like them. But how many times have you watched the Maury Povich show and the person that looked like the parent was not even the parent? Lots of times. I say this for a fact, unless you done did the DNA research yourself and you understood it and swabbed your said parent, alleged parent, and yourself, none of us really know unless it was done by yourself. I'm not saying something you sent off to DNA, Ancestry.com, or any of that. Unless you understand the language for yourself, you don't even know who your own parents are. Now, if you don't even know for a fact that you can prove scientifically who your parents are, not over your feelings, facts over feelings. Oh, this person raised me. This person, I don't care about none of that. Unless you can prove it yourself, you don't know if your parents is your parents or were your parents. Should they have passed on already? You don't know that. Now, if you don't know who your parents are, how do you know that coronavirus is real? Let that soak in a little bit. Let me say it again. If you can't prove to me that your parents are your parents yourself, not a doctor, not a kit lab delivery, wait for a response, you, unless you can prove to me, okay, let me take it a step further for religious people. And this is going to hurt your feelings. Okay, you believe in God? Okay. Show me God. I'm going to go take a nap and wait. Nah. But that's how long I could wait. Show me God. Show me God. Okay, now, show me God don't exist. I'll wait. Okay. With that being said, you don't know who your parents are. You can't prove to me the God that we say we believe in. Then you believe what people who you never met, don't know their credibility, don't know if they ever been to school, don't know if they ever have a degree, but you have a guy with a wig on sitting in office telling you these are the facts. I just showed you can't prove God or disprove God. You don't know who your parents are, but you're willing to believe and take an inoculation. Hope I said that word right. I'm not a scientist. A vaccine / antidote from people you don't know, from person Donald Trump, most of us never met, under the threat of military. See, if you have to use fear, something ain't right. Okay? Under the threat of, we moving the military on this, and if you don't have your card, nigga, you can't go nowhere. I'll tell you where I can go. I can go to these nuts. Because that's where everybody came from, was these motherfucking nuts. And your daddy's nuts, and his daddy's nuts, and their daddy's nuts. Everybody came from these nuts. I can prove that. I can look under a microscope and bam, those are sperm. I could pull something out of Herbert JJ, like, oh, those are eggs. And I could prove to you, here come the trash man. I could prove to you that that's a trash truck. Facts over feelings, y'all. Let's start researching the facts. If you're not a scientist, let's get some credible people that we know that we can believe that first can even prove that coronavirus exists. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it could be just something we already know that, for lack of better language, got trumped up to be something else so that other things could occur. Call that a conspiracy, but it is occurring. The military will be enacted. If you don't take it, and what have Christians been saying for a long time? If you don't get the mark, we're living in that world, whether you believe or not. It's coming to that. It's coming to that in your face. Now, you don't have to believe. I'm not going to tell you whether I believe or not, because it shouldn't matter to you. But what I'm saying is, let's get these facts. Let's stay out of our feelings, and let's just ABC 1, 2, 3. You don't know your parents. Can't prove God to me, but you're willing to listen to a scientist you don't know to tell you something, whether or not it exists or not. To tell you to believe in something based on his engineered authority. My name is Mark Melvin Talks. This is some real shit. You need to listen up. Peace.